Welcome back to the rest of the story. I'm down here at the valley and I'm taking home some of this, we're gonna go ahead and call it just some lower quality hay. This was second cut new seeding. It's the stuff that grew back after they took off the oats cover crop, and this stuff really was actually some pretty nice stuff when I made it, but the problem is it's been sitting outside since I made it. And we made it back in the first part of September, end of August. I don't really remember the dates exactly right now, but the big issue that this stuff had that's working against it, that worked against it, was the fact that we got upwards of 20 inches of rain in September, which I probably shouldn't have to say or don't have to say, but that's really not normal. And on a typical year, like years growing up, you really should be able to get away with making hay late August, September, and leaving it outside, and it actually keeps fairly well. But this stuff, you get 20 inches of rain on it, and it's hard to really expect the quality to stay there. So I'm using this 3-point Bale spear / trailer hitch for the 76, and I'm just loading this 6 bale capacity bale carrier of mine. I can't get 6 on, loading with the tractor, but I'm just taking home 2 loads today. This stuff really isn't good enough quality to really try to sell it, largely just because I'd be giving it away. So what I'm going to do is, now that I got some cows back at the home farm, I'm just going to set this stuff out and let the cows pick through it and decide what they wanted to use it for. If they want to eat off of it, they can. If they want to lay on it, they're more than welcome to. And they'll still be getting fodder bales too, but the weather's really mild it up, gotten really mild to the point where I should probably get out of here. The first load I took out of here, the ground was kind of firm yet from the overnight being cooler, but it's going on 2 o'clock and cutting up the ground just a little bit more than I want. So 2 loads of 6, 12 bales home. That's better than nothing at all. At least I can start to feed some of this stuff out. I mean, it's really my only options for it. Either I feed it out or put it out for the cows to get some use out of it, so I'm getting something out of it, or I burn it, which burning material just isn't on my list of options. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want to just burn a bunch of bales up. So the cows will at least get me some money out of it. And some of these are really nice. The first 6, to be honest, were probably the worst. I mean, they were probably the most exposed. These up through here really aren't that bad. Really good example of why I want that applicator on the round baler this year, though. I mean, I don't know how well you guys can see out the window, but this stuff is definitely weathered on the outside, and that is what will happen by applying preservative. The outside of the bale will still deteriorate and weather, but it will keep the quality of the hay on the inside if you break them open, and the material isn't moldy or dusty. You're not losing your quality quite so much. But my biggest concern is, depending on how much preservative you have to put on, which less is better, none is preferred, but It's insurance to me. So I've been doing a lot of research as far as how that stuff typically works, and the biggest thing I've gotten out of it is you have to let it air out. You can't, it's not recommended if you're using high rates to slam them into the shed and hope for the best, because you're gonna get into a bit of trouble. So this is, you guys can see me do it. The problem I got is I have this 3-point and everything lowered up as best I can, but I still can't, this bale's still got quite a bit of green in the core of it yet. I can't quite get low enough on the bale from where I'm picking them up at to get them set up on this wagon without messing them up and tearing them up. So there's a convenient little gravel pile back here, and I set the bales on it, pull ahead, let the 3-point drop all the way down so I can get in that lower third of the bale, because right now I'm right in that middle third, and the top third you really don't want to use a spear on, because you're really likely to just rip the upper part of the bale out. I mean, depending on how well you tightened it or how well you wrapped them. Our baler, everything that I've taken across the scale this whole year, our average is 1,600 pound bales. They're 5x5s out of a John Deere 566 baler. Doesn't matter if it's hay, new seeding, just grass, and we're actually moving more towards just grass than trying to worry about or trying to keep an alfalfa stand going, because we're feeding beef cows. They don't need dairy quality alfalfa as far as we're concerned. There's a farm west of here, is it up by Prairie, where the guy actually goes out and he makes all of his pastures. I mean, fenced in pasture, which we would typically have cattle out on. He does the same thing that we do. He goes out and he makes all of his pasture ground up, bales it up, then he hauls it home and feeds his cattle on the lot with pasture grass, which we do to a certain degree, but we still let our cows out and graze them after we take off that first cutting. So there's many different ways to farm efficiently, but we're gonna back up here. Perfect. Pick it up. And see, I don't know if you guys can really tell how much higher that is now. This is only my second trip, and the first trip I only hauled 6 bales. I wasn't brave enough to put a bale on the back like that, on the back like this. Excuse me. I like just down lunch and try hooking up to that wagon and pulling 7 bales home. So I'm really only trying to get, I got about 2 more loads here. I can come and get some other day, but I'm not overly trusting in that little bale spear. I really am kind of, I almost expect it to break off, but they can take an awful lot of abuse before you get to that point. This trailer hitch slash bale mover was worth the $200, and doing stuff like this is where it really shines, because this is how I bent. Didn't break, but I bent our other set of bale movers. I was using the 76 and those other movers, and I would get underneath the arms of the bale wagon trying to pick a bale off, and I'd catch the bar or the beam and I'd torque that mover, and then I ultimately destroyed it down here. I backed into the ground, backed into the dirt with it on that 6R, and that tractor had no give whatsoever, which is nice. I mean, depending on what you really want to use it for, but I mean, I could think of a few applications that 6R would really come in handy. I would widen it out though. It was awfully tippy. Granted, I know you're not going to just tip over on it, but with it being so narrow and for the kind of ground conditions that we're typically running over, this farm down here is a perfect example of that. This is a hilly slash level farm. It's got spots where, well, you guys saw the bottom. The bottom is basically tabletop flat. And then you got the waterways, which if you're down in the bottom of the waterways with the tractor, you can't see the top of the cab. But if you go over 40, 50 feet, you're on top of the hill already. So I mean, the bottom of the tires are above the roof of the cab on the tractor that's down in the waterway. I mean, I was actually just watching Ryan's How Farms Work, what Valley Farm or Down the Valley Farm, of us making this down here. I really like that video. It's like Ryan actually quoted in the video. I mean, this is a really pretty area down in here. I had soybeans. I did run this farm back in 15. I had soybeans on it, and the soybeans did really well closer to the hillside, but the farther out you got, the worse they did. There's more stress involved with raising row crops down here than I prefer. From what I've seen of how the bottom performs and how the field ground performs being in hay, it's an awesome hay farm. It makes a lot of feed, and I'm planning on utilizing that and running it through the cattle up at home. That's the plan anyway. And this is actually where pretty much all of the feed or all of the hay I'll be feeding my beef cows next summer or next winter. This upcoming winter, it's going to be coming from down here. But this stuff, the stuff out here, it's lower quality, but I'll tell you how it is. We fed worse. And the cows do exactly that. They go through, they pick out what they want, and they lay on the rest. So that's better than pushing it into a ditch and putting a match to it, that's for sure. Can't afford to do that. So, closing comments, quick. All right, well, the 76 is doing great. I like it. I like it a lot. I have no intentions of getting rid of the 76. I had a couple people telling me that I should because of the fact that it's starting to give me problems. Yeah. Problem is, you run anything long enough, you're gonna have problems with it. Unfortunately, I'm not rich. I mean, I like my family and all that. I'm rich in that aspect, but as far as the dollar signs, the bank account, I can't afford to upgrade machinery. Ooh, I forgot to back up in the gravel. I can't afford to upgrade tractors as quickly as some would probably prefer we do. The 76 has 8,300 hours on it. I wholeheartedly expect to have over 9,000 hours on this tractor by December. Especially if we're going to be making a couple 100 acres of hay this year between waterways and new seeding and the ground down here. There's probably, I'm going to run the GPS over. I want to know how many acres are actually down here. I have the maps from the local office, but they're approximations when there's ground that, I mean, it's hilly and all that. I'd like to know, oh, lunch is coming back. I'd like to know where I stand on acres. I know this place can yield really well, tonnage wise, but it's also trying to make quality hay, because I don't want to just make a bunch of bales like this. I mean, if I could have put these inside, I have bales put inside that are the same stuff as this, that didn't get all that rain on them, and they look really nice. I fed a couple of them out, and the cows treated them like candy. So I'm trying to get through the lower quality stuff yet before I really start putting out the heavy, really getting heavy, feeding the really nice stuff. But between, I don't know how many acres we're actually running right now. It's a moving number. Everybody asks how many acres we run. We say right around 1,000. It varies. It's going up. Between this ground I picked up and some other ground, and I got some phone calls that I need to address. I don't know where we're actually going to be at this year. I'm looking forward to making hay. I like making hay. I like raising row crops, and I like raising cattle. And so far, Relina hasn't really been that bad yet. She hasn't been at all. She's a cutie. But raising kids and cattle and crops and feed and dogs. Is that right, Calvin? I don't know. Life could be a lot worse, I could say. So, with that, well, I guess you guys can do this real quick.
Drop it on the gravel.
This works so slick. And the best part is, I didn't even plan this out. It was just kind of had to make it up as I go. And if you guys are familiar with any of the old comics from the 80s and the 90s, Calvin and Hobbes by Bill Watterson, that's where somebody got his name. And Calvin, hey buddy, from Bill Watterson's comics, said that he works best under the influence of last-minute panic. So I guess that does kind of hold true to my life a little bit. But oh well. And with that, you guys are watching the rest of the story. This one got a little long. I really wasn't planning on talking that much. But until next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later.